Hello, my name's Mutia, and this is the Leading in Love podcast. The podcast that is dedicated to heart-led conversations to build connection, love for yourself, each other, and the planet. So yes, this is my Valentine's Day special, take 2. I actually did film a Valentine's Day special, 28 days of reels, which I haven't launched yet. Well, I should have launched by now. By the time this podcast episode comes out, I should have launched it, but I decided not to launch it because I felt like 28 days of reels saying dates, because I was saying things like, hi, it's the 1st of February and my heart-led message for you today is, and I was like, wow, that would be kind of strange as a full episode. So I decided to film another one, and I've gone back and forth with what I should film this episode on, and I still don't know what I'm gonna talk about. I've got a few ideas. This is completely freestyled, so yeah, I would be in the title by now, but this is completely freestyled, unscripted. I was feeling a lot of mixed emotions to film this podcast today. Initially I was thinking that I was gonna discuss like why dating apps are not for everyone. And this was because some years ago, maybe more than just a few, I wrote a blog, and I was kind of praising or, accepting dating apps was a normal part of dating. And now my experience on dating apps has made me feel the complete opposite. Not because I've had particularly like a bad experience on dating apps, but because I just realized that I don't feel anything and I can't force anything, and I may be a little bit different than the other people that are on dating apps, and I'm not aligned to dating apps, not in a a pretentious way, like, oh, I'm better than dating apps, or not in a I'm weird, I'm a freak, I can't do dating apps, but more so it just doesn't work for me. First of all, I'm not that male-centered. When I say I'm not that male-centered, I love men. I do love men. And in fact, I feel like I was male-centered at one part of my life. And I just had, and I feel like me being male-centered is what led me to becoming the complete opposite. Well, I'm not complete opposite, I still love men. And not love men, but I like one man at a time. Generally, I really don't know how to entertain multiple people, which is funny because in the blog that I wrote, I was like, oh, you have to date around and figure out what's your type, and literally, and people swear by it. I understand, even I'm looking for a venue for an event that I've got coming up, and I understand you have to look at multiple venues because some of the venues fall through, some of the venues are not great, but even that, I find that overwhelming. And I feel like I'm a lot happier and genuinely have a lot more dating success offline. So that says it all. If I felt like, oh gosh, I'm not having any dating success and I'm not talking to men unless I'm on dating apps, then I would understand. But I feel like I genuinely have a lot more luck offline. I haven't met someone online and dated them for 8 years. I think it's 8 years. 2018, I met a guy on a dating app, and we dated for a whole of 3 months. And that was in 2018. And since then, I have not had no luck on dating apps. And as of recently, I've just come to more and more of the conclusion that I'm demisexual, which means I need a deep emotional connection with someone. And this is going to sound very maybe narcissistic. I'm really sure that that's a part of human evolution. I feel like to be evolved is to require an emotional connection with someone, and because I feel like maybe that's what's working against that evolution is our leaning into survival instinct. Oh, I need a man to pay my bills, or I need a woman to cook for me or clean for me. And I feel like that is leading to a lot of very unhappy marriages and a lot of people making choices that they're not really truly aligned to. But who am I? I'm not expert. I'm just speaking from the heart. And I feel like one thing I have noticed that like at least I'm able to build good friendships with people, like like not like obviously the male friendships and there's tensions. It's not like same as having a female friend. So like if you want to hang out with your female friend and you haven't seen her for a while, you're like, oh yeah, fine. Yeah, and if you like talking to a guy and you as friends and you're trying to get to know each other more, or even like just just having an interest in each other, if that person lets you down, it's going to be different. Yeah, it still leads to friendships though, and even like it allows me to not objectify people, and I'm not always out thinking, could this guy be a match for me? Could I date him? I just like literally, generally, I'm happier and enjoy life a lot more when I lean into that, like just forming emotional connections with people. So yeah, that was what my podcast was going to be about like dating apps are not for everyone. And I feel like I'm gonna like go on to like I'm gonna be a bit, I feel like something has been prompting me to discuss the fact that I'm 41 and I'm still single, and I really don't want to talk about this because it's something that I don't think about, but I feel like it'll be a topic like not like maybe let me be less selfish and like talk about something that other people want to hear about, because me really, I feel like it's not my business to like talk about my personal life too much. I feel like talking about topics of interest that I can connect with other people, that's great, but like blabbing about my personal life, that's what I feel like I'm doing now. It feels a bit uncomfortable, but I'm going to talk about it. So yeah, I'm 41, I'm going to be 42, and I'm single, but genuinely I'm at a stage in my life where like it really doesn't really affect me like it used to. When I turned like between the 35 and 40, I literally was, oh my gosh, I was going through it, and in a way I'm kind of glad that I stayed single for so long. I had relationships, obviously. The relationships, I was not happy in the relationships. I realized, I don't know if the relationships were to teach me that, like a relationship isn't going to, is not necessarily going to like fill that void in your life. You have to fill that yourself. Yeah, I do genuinely meet emotionally intelligent guys, and yeah, maybe I just haven't met the right guy. Do you know what? I kind of like dating over 40 because like, oh my gosh, like so much less emotional immaturity, and you know what you want and you attract what you want a lot more, and that's nice. And when you realize you're not aligned to someone, it ends pretty quickly. That's what I kind of like as well. Like it doesn't really go far when you get to a certain age, you just don't entertain it. And especially with me, because I'm demisexual, which means you need a deep emotional connection. It's not like demisexual does not refer to sex, it means like a sexuality as opposed to sex. So you can be straight and be celibate. So demisexual is not talking about like the way I like to do it. It's more talking about like how I'm attracted to people. And generally, I'm just not attracted to people. Generally, I'm just not attracted to people at the moment. Like generally, like I have to talk to someone and get to know them, and then I'm like, oh, I'm attracted to that person. So that's why I can't do dating apps, because I'm like swiping, and I am like, this is literally so boring. It's weird because I know the transition of when I realized I was demisexual, because like at first I would literally like kind of have like feel like, oh, that guy looks into, I was like, oh, people hate this term now, and they're probably gonna hate the term demisexual. So sapiosexual, I was like, I like guys that show intelligence, like signs of intelligence, and people that I can have a conversation with. But now I was like, I can have a conversation with everyone. It still doesn't mean I'm attracted to you. So as my my social skills got better and stuff like that, I just realized like, just because I can have a conversation with you and I realize you're intelligent in some sense, and doesn't mean necessarily I'm attracted to you. But as before, that was as simple as it was. But then I dated guys that were intelligent but also lacking emotional intelligence. So maybe that's why I just like swung the opposite way. And yeah, just like it was like kind of like a gradual transition. I went like, going to church a little for a while, and then realizing that it's just because I was desiring intimacy spiritually and emotionally. And then there was a blockage in church because maybe again I haven't found the right church. Just because like there was too much focus on trivial things, which I think is trivial, but in the church it's so serious. So serious, like, oh, how someone's hair is, how someone's makeup is, and blah, blah, blah. Maybe I'm going to the wrong church, or maybe I was listening too much to the echoes of Christianity rather than focusing on my experience of church. And I just, anyway, I'm taking a break from that for a while. I'm always back and forth with this, just because like I can't be in an environment where they're kind of like, I can't be in an environment where like I feel like it is a little bit mean, and not any church specifically, but I just felt like the experience I was having and this constantly second guessing myself made me feel like I was getting further and away from like just feeling a spiritual alignment or connection. And spirituality can be expressed in many ways, as you know. Like, I'm African, well, you might not know, I'm African, so like, you know, like a lot of these things are like, you know, Western kind of ideologies of like what Christianity should look like, and it was about like a lot of like colonization and how humans should be, and this is how a good human behaves and stuff like that. And as a Nigerian woman, not all Nigerians show up like this. Some of them show up in a more traditional Christian sense. I just know that was like colonization. Like, then when I go to my African parties, I don't know, I like Nigerian Christians, so maybe I should go to a Nigerian church. I do like Nigerian Christians. And I also respect people's different opinions. I love modest clothing, but sometimes I don't always want to dress modest. It's not that deep. Yeah, I don't really objectify people by their... And yeah, maybe I'm not even attracted. It's so interesting because I'm going to contradict myself now. I'm not attracted to men that don't put their tops on. So I can understand why a man would not be attracted to me, because I got my cleavage out. So I'm not like, it's just different, you know, different horses for different courses. But at the same time, I would also not necessarily have a certain photo on a dating app, do you know what I mean, or on my social media. What they called first traps. I'm not about first trapping. I used to be when I was younger, when I was modeling. How embarrassing. It took one of my ex-boyfriends, actually a Christian guy, to be like, don't do that, it's not a good look. But I'm not trying to say it's a bad look, but yeah. So that's it. I just feel like, yeah, even makeup, I just like, I want to have some freedom, and you know, I don't and the thing is like I'm someone that's heavy on the thinking already, so I don't want to get too caught up in like, should I wear this top or not that top.
And that's a wrap for episode 7 part 1 on this Leading in Love podcast episode, in which I closed on the topic of things that I don't want to get caught up in. Look out for episode 7 part 2, in which I'll be opening with the opposing topic of things that I do want to get caught up in. So yes, that will be launched on the 13th of February at 7 p.m. I'd also like to apologise for launching this episode a little bit later than planned. Life was just happening. I'm a busy girl with many schedules, working a full-time job, and, you know, creative, you know, hobbies such as my podcast and my meetup group. So yeah, you can imagine sometimes life can get a bit full on, but I'll ensure episode 7 part 2 will be launched on time, which is February the 13th at 7 p.m. Until next time, guys, and thanks for tuning in.